Hi friends, Ultra Mega Sloth here with another Hearthstone video for you. A while back I made a video about some Hearthstone cards in Rise of Shadows that also appear in the World of Warcraft. I wanted to go further and explore more of the cards from Rise of Shadows as their appearances in the World of Warcraft, so I attempted to hunt down all of the cards I could in World of Warcraft. Now I tried to get every card I could, but some are not in the World of Warcraft and some are more difficult to get to given time constraints and whatnot, but here's what I came up with. So starting with the neutral minions, we have the Arcane Watcher. The Arcane Watcher is a statue that can be found in Dalaran. Next we have Archivist Elysiana, who you can find in the Dalaran Citadel to the left when you first walk in. As for the Azerite Elemental, I looked far and wide for this, and I finally found one in a cave in Vol'dun. Yep, there it is. The card Barista Lynchin in-game is known as Mel Lynchin, and she can be found serving coffee in the Ledger Domain Lounge in Dalaran. There she is. Chef Nomi can be found in either faction's inn's kitchen, where he will give you cooking quests. Next we have the Exotic Mount Seller, aka May Francis. She can be found not far from Barista Lynchin in Dalaran, waiting outside the stable selling mini exotic mounts. While you can acquire mini flying carpets as mounts in WoW, you also see this gnome in Dalaran riding one.
Hi, how are you?
As for the Flight Master, you've probably seen Aludane Whitecloud plenty of times, so he is the Flight Master for the city of Dalaran. The heroic Innkeeper, also known as Isarami Fairwind, can be found as the Alliance side Innkeeper in Dalaran, and her outfit is almost identical to the card. Jepetto Joybuzz. He can actually be found around the corner from the Ledger Domain Lounge at the toy shop called the Wonderworks, where he toils away building toys.
Alrighty then.
For the Portal Keeper and Portal Overfiend, these are actually enemies from the Violet Hold instance, where the card represents their actions pretty well because they summon demons from a portal in World of Warcraft, and in the game, they'll shuffle demons into your deck and they are summoned when drawn. And for the Sunreaver Spy and the Sunreaver Warmage, these both look just like the Horde side guards in Dalaran. Archmage Vargoth can be found in a few places throughout World of Warcraft. You can summon his image, but you can also find him in a region of Outland, the Netherstorm, in the Violet Tower. Moving on to the Violet Warden. The Violet Warden also relates to the Violet Hold, as they are the city-appointed guards for the Violet Hold and guard its perimeter. Let's move on to the class cards for Rise of Shadows. Let's start with the Druid cards. Most of the Druid cards in Rise of Shadows are based around the Crystal Song Forest, which the magical city of Dalaran floats above in Wrath of the Lich King expansion in WoW. According to the lore, thanks to Wowhead, Crystal Song Forest was accidentally created by weak and desperate Highborn of the Chandral. After the Great Sundering, who had seen the blue dragonflight crystallizing creatures and drawing magic out of them, desperate for replacement for the Well of Eternity, the Highborn infiltrated the Nexus and stole artifacts of the flight, earning the dragon's ire. When the dragons confronted them in the forest, the elves attempted to crystallize part of the area and draw magic from the crystals to fight the dragons off, but the spell was much more powerful than anticipated and transformed the entire region, as well as twisting the elves' spirits. The card Luccentbark depicts a violet ancient with a crystal staff and crystals growing out of his beard. While there's no actual NPC with the name Luccentbark, there are similar NPCs called Unbound Ancients who resemble Luccentbark. Suffice to say, Luccentbark is likely one of these Unbound Ancients. The card Dreamway Guardians depicts two crystallized dryads chasing a kobold foolish enough to wander into the Crystal Song Forest. These resemble the unbound dryads found in the Crystal Song Forest as well. The card The Forest Aid depicts gray treants with glowing eyes. These can be seen in the Crystal Song Forest as the Unbound Ent. Now for the card Acorn Bearer. I could not find a druid standing with two squirrels on their shoulders, but if you walk around the Crystal Song Forest, you will notice there are many squirrels around the area. Okay, let's move on to Hunter. A card that I had to go out a little bit further to find something similar was the Ursatron. While there is no Ursatron in the actual game, there's perhaps something that would grow up to be an Ursatron. In Winterspring, near Everlook, you can find an anodized Robocub pet. Wandering around, it looks very similar to the Ursatron, just a cub version. Next we have Varisa Windrunner, who's the Ranger General of the Silver Covenant, sister to Sylvanas Windrunner, the current leader of the Horde, and sister to Alaria Windrunner, Ranger Captain of Silvermoon and now leader of the Void Elves as a new playable race in the world of Warcraft. Varisa's battlecry equips you with Thoradal, the Star's Fury, which is a legendary weapon that drops off of Kil'jaeden in the Sunwell Plateau raid.
My bow is at the ready.
Moving on to Mage. I tried to look for a specific Kirin Tor Tricaster, but I could not find one. However, the Tricaster does seem to be wearing the same outfit that the Kirin Tor guards wear in Dalaran. As for Khadgar, he can be found standing in the main lobby of the Citadel, surrounded by the Kirin Tor Council. He can also be found at many other points in the game as he is a key character in the Warcraft series. According to the lore, Khadgar is perhaps the most accomplished of all living wizards. One of the most powerful magi in the Azerothian history, Khadgar currently acts as the leader of the Kirin Tor. He was apprentice of the Guardian Medivh until he helped defeat his possessed master. Though cursed with frailty and age, Khadgar nevertheless has been exemplar for the Alliance, destroying the Dark Portal in the Second War, leading the Alliance expedition to Draenor, and counterattacking against the Burning Legion and all who would threaten his world with annihilation. Khadgar is also seen in the card Power of Creation.
There is much to be done.
Now to Kalecgos. Kalecgos can also be found in many different quests and instances and raids during World of Warcraft, as he is also an important character for the series. According to the lore, Kalecgos is the former aspect of the Blue Dragonflight. After the death of Malygos, in his mortal guise he is known as Kalec and appears as a half-human, half-elf with blue-black hair, a form that appeals to him because it represents the melding of two worlds, just as Kalec himself feels that he is a blend of the worlds of dragons and humans. Due to the blues being most in tune with magic of all the dragonflights, Kalec has the powers of a sorcerer and the strength of a warrior. Now for Paladin. Not many Paladin cards were in the game, but I'll quickly give a shout out to Duel, which is a reference to the ability to engage in a duel or a one-on-one combat with another player in World of Warcraft. Other than that, we have an interesting character here, Nozari. Nozari is a member of the Bronze Dragonflight, daughter to Nozdormu, the dragon aspect of time, and she also has a twin brother, Andormu. While we see Nozari in her dragon form in the card, she can be found in elf form in the Caverns of Time alongside her brother, Andormu. But they appear twice in the Caverns of Time, once as their adult selves and once as their child selves, suggesting they have been manipulating time. For Priest, we have a few cards. Now, I covered Katrina Muerte a little bit in my last video, but she can only be found on the Day of the Dead in many locations, including Dalaran Underbelly, but again, that's a one-time deal while the Day of the Dead event is going on. The card Shadowy Figure is not the name of an actual NPC in the game, however, judging by the shoulder armor and orange jewel adorned in his belt, it does appear to represent Mindflayer Karj, who is one of the bosses you will fight in the Violet Hold. So as for Rogue, many of the Rogue cards do not exist in the game as well, but I will give a shout out to the Underbelly Fence because this does reference the Underbelly, which is the sewer of Dalaran, and the card Vendetta. You can see a Goblin Rogue about to shank one of the Kirin Tor guards, which we previously saw as the Kirin Tor Tricaster. And for Shaman, we have Scargill, who's one of the few that does not actually reside near Dalaran. He does, however, reside in the Hillsbrad Foothills, which was the original location of Dalaran before it lifted off to the sky. Scargill can be found almost directly south of where Dalaran used to be, near a Murloc encampment off the coast. He's a rare spawn, so if you see him, you're pretty lucky. Next, we have the Walking Fountain. Now, this one took me a while to place, but I can definitely see where it's from now. It would appear that when Hagatha decided to attack Dalaran, with her witch magic, she brought this fountain to life and turned it into an elemental because this fountain seen in the card has the same seal head as the fountain depicted here. And it is kind of strange because you think about it and you're like, that doesn't look like a fountain, but when you see the fountain in Dalaran, you definitely put that together. As for Warlock, I'm not quite sure how the Aranasi Broodmother fits in with the theme of Rise of Shadows, because it is in World of Warcraft, but it can be found in a dungeon far away, which is the Vault of the Wardens. As for Fell Lord Betrug, he's the last boss of the Violet Hold dungeon. Moving on to Warrior. Warrior also does not have many cards in the game, but you can see a few similarities featured in these cards. To shout out Sweeping Strikes, this is an actual Warrior ability, but you can also see the Unbound Ents we saw earlier featured in this card. As for Wrench Caliber, I did find a couple models that look similar to the Warrior weapon, but neither was an exact match. Hey, thanks for watching. By the way, I stream on Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/ultramegasloth. And if you like this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe for some more Hearthstone content. See you later.